the PGA Tour returns to the game's ultimate stress test.
I guarantee he wasn't visualizing that thing flying the green. This green doesn't care about any kind of psychoanalysis you do. This island green has a mind of its own.
Look at the dumbest terror in his eyes.
That is the 13th ball of the day in the water.
That's a lot of money going down the drain.
Yes, it is. And Johnny, this could be the most bewildering 140-yard hole you'll ever play.
To the unforgettable.
Right club. Be the right club today. Yes!
That is better than most. Better than most.
To the iconic.
Ricky Fowler owns the island green. Wire-to-wire champion Jason Day.
Once more, the best field in golf will vie for the game's largest purse at Pete Dye's mind-bending masterpiece. It's time to get you ready for the player.
Morning Drive, presented by Rolex.
And good morning, welcome inside Studio AP. We start a very special week on the PGA Tour. Gary Williams, Damon Hack, 11 times he teed it up at the Players, 3-time winner on the PGA Tour. Chris DeMarco, gentlemen, this is one of those weeks that you look forward to because it's the best, hopefully at their best, at a place that I consider the most provocative golf course they play all year.
And it favors absolutely no one.
Correct,
it favors
sir.
who is playing great golf. Underdogs win there, like Craig Perks or Fred Funk. Major champions and Hall of Famers win there, like Phil Mickelson as well. I love the golf course. You better bring it this week, Chris DeMarco.
Yeah, they made some good changes to it. I really like the changes. But for the players, going there, you feel like you're home. You feel like you go into your locker room. It's the players' locker room. You see the champions' locker room, and you'd love to get your locker in there. But the food, everything there, it's for the players that week, and it truly feels like a home event.
You know, it's interesting. We just saw the Kentucky Derby on NBC on Saturday. You could just have a number of auxiliary gates lined up. This is all thoroughbreds. You win this week, you know you have beaten the strongest field all year in the game of golf.
And as Jason Day said last year when he won, this could be the difference for some players between having a great career and having a Hall of Fame career. There's a lot at stake this week as well.
No doubt about it. It's bold type. But what is happening now? Well, there are a lot of interesting things because a lot of interesting different things went on, including match play on the LPGA. Se-Young Kim wins for the 6th time. She wins one up against somebody who a lot of people will be number one in the world maybe sooner than later, and that is Arya Jutanagarn. How about Brian Harman on a green on the 18th hole at Eagle Point that most players could not figure out? He makes a long birdie putt to deny potentially Dustin Johnson 4 in a row. Pat Perez had also posted 9 under, and that was true exuberance. And finally, after 13 years, 2 months, and 22 days, he tastes and literally tasted victory. John Daly's first win on PGA Tour Champions. Wow.
How did he do it, Chris DeMarco? Let's go back to Sunday, the first hole, par 5. Big John Daly going for this green in 2.
Well, you say you want to get your round off to a good start. Big JD here does an unbelievable job with not about a mid-iron in there, just to about a couple feet for eagle.
Length always was his great equalizer, his great weapon. He'd go on to make that eagle to move to 13 under. Now Tommy Armour the third, his approach, the third shot on the par 5-6.
A beautiful golf shot here. Plays it just over the slope, rolls it in the hole there. Nice little eagle.
Moves to 12 under, 1 shot back of John Daly. Here's Daly now 10 feet for bogey on the par 3-16.
Yeah, made a mess of this hole to get it to that point, but boy, this is almost as big as a birdie putt. Nice, huge putt to keep his lead.
Absolutely. Drops him to 16 under. That lead cut to 1 shot. Now here's Tommy Armour laying up here with a 3-wood, not even hitting the driver on the par 4-17.
Well, we can see by shot tracker he gets his ball going a little left. When that ball gets going left, it gets tumbling once it hits the ground. That one is one bouncer right in the hazard.
Shades of Steve Stricker a few weeks ago. He would go on to make bogey, dropping to 14 under and 2 shots back. Here's Big John on the 17th hole, his approach into the par 4.
He's holding on right now for dear life. This one he thinks is in the water, and it somehow just carries and stays up.
Stays dry, but he would not get up and down. That's another bogey, and now a one-shot lead. Now here's Big John walking up the 18th hole. You see the Arnold Palmer umbrella logo in this precious moment right here.
Absolutely. I love the little kiss there, and then the little pump up to the sky to look at Arnie. He knows he's looking down. Great testament to him.
And John Daly, how important could he be to PGA Tour champions? Taps in for his first win. Hadn't even had a top 10 on the 50 and over circuit, and there he gets the nice champagne shower. His good buddy Esteban Toledo leading the charge there. So here are the numbers. A one-shot win over Kenny Perry and Tommy Armour III. Kevin Sutherland, 9 straight top 10s on PGA Tour champions. But the big story is John Daly. In 1 year now, he's played on this circuit. What will he mean? What could this mean to the 50 and over set?
It could be huge. I mean, he draws a crowd. He's probably the biggest draw out there when he's playing good. People love to see him at any aspect. They love to see him play the game. They love to see him hit big drives. They love to see him not really care sometimes. They love to they just love being around him.
It's important that he's interested, that he wants to play, because we don't see a lot of players. There's some players that don't even want to play on the 50 and over circuit. They want to just kind of hang on. You see Davis Love III, Vijay Singh. Some players have kind of taken their time. John Daly has embraced the PGA Tour champions.
Yeah, and to amplify your point, I was in Wilmington all week, and Bob Estes and Davis Love III and Vijay Singh, they were in the field on the PGA Tour, not there. There are a handful of players in the game of golf that break through the vortex of golf by itself and bust into the mainstream of sports and culture. He's one of those individuals, and he remains that today. If you looked at mainstream sports last night, his highlight package was not buried late. And sometimes maybe even PGA Tour champions, with all due respect, may not even have a highlight package on some of these sports shows. He is one of a handful of players that gets into the mainstream.
Can he be Chichi Rodriguez? Can he be Lee Trevino for this tour?
Well, he's got a flair about him, but he also, to me, he's every guy's guy. I think that's what I see. I think he brings people that don't necessarily play that much golf. If they're not real good at golf, they like to just sit on a couch, have a couple beers, whatever it might be. That's their guy, and everybody loves him for that, and he embraces that. He loves that. You go to Augusta, he's sitting right outside Augusta. He's got the Hooters thing. He's right there selling his gear. I mean, he interangles with all the other people, and he loves that type of atmosphere.
I just hope that he can be dependable. Because that's the, for all of his talent, and he's a huge fan favorite, he hasn't been the dependable player that you can count on to say, this is the guy we're going to hitch our wagon to for the next 2 or 3 years.
I would like to believe that, but how many people at the age of 50 change so much who've always been really considered undependable to being dependable? I think we should cherish the weeks in which he contends. Consider this, since 2011 on the PGA Tour, 44 missed cuts and only 3 top 10s. But you know what? It shows you, when you have winning inside you, that fiber still exists.
A lot of people call him a savant, remarkable hands.
But that's his MO. His MO is that he's a streaky player, and when he gets hot, he wins. I mean, we saw the British Open, the PGA Championship. He puts himself in position, and he knows how to handle it when he's in that position.
Well, on the PGA Tour, it was a one-off for the Wells Fargo, which is normally at Quail Hollow, but they are hosting the PGA Championship, so they moved to Eagle Point, which was in sublime condition. And Brian Harmon, on a green that confounded everybody, makes that long birdie putt. Dustin Johnson had posted 9 under. Pat Perez had posted 9 under. You had John Rahm behind him, who still had a chance on that reachable par 5. His second win, and Chris, I ask you, as somebody won 3 times, winning your first time is an enormous thing. As we take a look at that final leaderboard, I mentioned Dustin Johnson, Pat Perez. They tie second. John Rahm, another top 5. It's amazing what this young man is doing. But when you won for the second time, everyone talks about validation. Is that what it felt like to you?
Absolutely. When you win, you join that fraternity. You know you're going to be a tour member for the rest of your life. But when you win that second time, it kind of validates that first win. So there's no doubt that in that field, with what's already posted right there with Pat Perez and Dustin Johnson, world number 1, and go make that putt, that is a pretty special moment.
How about the celebrations we've seen? John Rahm, Kevin Chappell, and Brian Harmon also getting it done. This week, of course, is all about the Players' Championship, the vision of former PGA Tour Commissioner Dean Beeman. Way back in the late 1970s, he came up with the concept of stadium golf because he couldn't see the action from outside the ropes. So after a land purchase purchase of $1. Beeman had dinner at the Homestead in Jacksonville Beach, Florida with Pete Dye and project manager Vernon Kelly, and Dye started scribbling notes on his placemat. The course opened in 1980, hosted the Players for the first time in 82, won, as you see there, by Jerry Pate. The championship moved from March to May in 2007, and lately, robust speculation it may move back to March.
That is true. That $1 purchase was not from Randolph and Mortimer Duke. I can dispel that rumor, but significant changes made. Consider all the greens resurfaced with tipped eagle Bermuda grass, tweaks made to 8 greens. They rebuilt all the bunkers. 12 is going to get a lot of discussion this week. They created a lake between holes 6 and 7, repositioned the tee on 7, shifted the tee back on hole number 15, which is interesting, par 4, and redesigned the entry and the practice areas. When you look at all those changes, Chris, and they are fairly significant, which one stands out the most for you?
Probably number 12. I think number 12 is the best change. Before, you couldn't really see the green from the tee, so you had to tee off and you kind of just hit to an area. Then the green, you couldn't see the green from the fairway because there was a big hill in front. So now you can see everything that lays out in front of you, and I love it. I think a lot of these guys are going to go for this green. It sets up for a draw that you can land short and kind of run it up onto the green. It is a beautiful hole of golf, but there's a lot of trouble out there too. You can get it going a little left, that water's in play. I mean, that's a hole that you want to make 3 or 4 birdies on throughout the week, and you can make a 5 or 6 there pretty easily.
There's not many innocuous holes on that golf course. I thought 12 was. Now it's as provocative as virtually all the others. With that being said, there are countless storylines that when you head into a week loaded with everybody in the game, but which one stands out for you? Number 1 storyline for Chris DeMarco is?
Sergio Garcia.
Ooh,
right?
Past champion.
Past champion there. He has the best record in the last 10 years there of any other player. Masters champion, just gets that monkey off his back. I think he's riding a high. I think he's riding a confidence that we haven't seen in Sergio in a long time. Finally, right inside Sergio, there's a thing that says, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I can do this consistently, and I can do it often.
From the player with the best record in the last decade, how about someone with one of the worst records in the last decade, which has surprised a lot of our viewers, Dustin Johnson, without a top 25 on this golf course. So what will give this week? A guy coming in off of 3 wins and a tie for second, or someone who clearly has shown that he has not been comfortable on this golf course? You know, is he playing so well right now that he'll overcome any past issues, struggles, demons that he's felt on a golf course where ghosts and goblins are around every corner?
I think we're seeing a different Dustin Johnson this year. I think we've seen somebody completely mature with that win at the U.S. Open last year. And I don't think that there's a course that doesn't suit his game anymore. I think he's past that. We obviously know he went away from the draw to a nice little cut now. I think that's going to suit him better at this golf course. I think Dustin Johnson's going to be right there at the end.
You know what else? Don't you think, and it's true every year, you have every great player in the field, so that alone provides you with so many storylines. The golf course, it's hard to knock the golf course off the top of the marquee.
Oh, no question about it. And you're going to have players like Ken Duke, you know, have a great week, or Justin Thomas, Stephen Ames. We've seen players kind of flash and have put up a 65 or 66 out of nowhere. I mean, we'll be talking about Jason Day. We'll talk about Rory and DJ, but we could have someone completely not that we're not even talking about go ahead and hoist that crystal on Sunday.
And you know what? Like Roberto Castro is an example of that. Kevin Kisner, when no one really was talking about him. That's a very good point.
Well, this golf course is also one of the only golf courses that for 72 holes, you're about as nervous as you can be on this golf course, because every hole out there, every turn you make, there's a double bogey waiting to happen. This is the most severe golf course that you get. You miss a green here, it goes in places where you don't want to be. And there's a ton of water out there, and there's a ton of obstacles. There's trees and pine straw. I mean, this golf course can, if you're not hitting it good, can jump up and grab you pretty quick.
And remember the line from John Cook, play toward trouble. Who wants to do that? But on this golf course, apparently you have to. All right, we're just getting started on this Monday. It's great to say good morning to Lauren Thompson. What up, LT?
Pretty nice saying what up to you too, Gary Williams. All right, are we ready for this week or what? They were talking about Dustin Johnson at the Players. So from one big hitter to another, check this out. A post on social media from Rory McIlroy yesterday, a 4-time major champion. Yeah, it's a slow-mo swing video, but the details are very telling. It's been reported that a new driver won by TaylorMade will be in the bag for Rory McIlroy. He said back on the range and ready for the Players Championship this week. So this begs the question, and we're putting this out to you guys. Our crew already weighed in. We want to know, what is your choice for the best storyline headed into this week at the Stadium Course, TPC Sawgrass, the Players? The best replies? Yep, they're going to make it on air live. live today. So while Rory McIlroy will be vying for his first ever Players Championship title, someone else who got it done in 2005 is going to be leading off quite the ball striking lesson for you later today. So coming up, a preview of what Fred Funk has in store and why his techniques could pack a punch in your own game. Then we're going to be doing a little bit of reflection on the debut for the European Tour's Golf Sixes, the two-day, two-man team event, which concluded yesterday in London and had all sorts of never-before-seen elements in competitive golf. So we're going to bring back the best moments worthy of an encore in case you missed it to liven up your Monday morning. Plus, a good chat ahead with our Golf Channel contributor and LPGA insider and the last woman standing in match play in Mexico, Ron Syrak. He's going to be joining us live with big-time notes on the winners, Sei Young Kim, also the runner-up on Ariya Jutanugarn, as well as takeaways from the past few days of action for Michelle Wie. But Gary Williams, as you know, it's time to look ahead to a highly anticipated week in Ponte Vedra.
Yes, and it all starts certainly on that opening hole, and every hole you have a familiarity with. But we're just getting started here on Morning Drive, presented all week by Rolex. Great to have you aboard.